think you're the one in control. Awesome. So we'll be doing that. And has Wendy Wolf? Yes, Wendy is here. We need to get you a few more screens. No, thank you. I'm good with one. So I'm going to give Wendy a few minutes. She had something she wanted to share with us before we got started for the day. So over to Wendy.
All right, I need to share screen. Is that, yeah, can you let me share my screen? Or Alexa?
I think you can, but I'll make you a co-host now just in case.
No, it's disabled. So if you're co-host, or you can go to share and say multiple participants can share simultaneously quickly.
Yep. Alexa, you have to do that one.
I've done both, so try again, Wendy.
Yeah, I can share. I can share now. Hang on. There we go. Sorry. I'm slowly getting there with all this stuff. I keep still learning new things. I had a call with Celeste a week ago to ask her for some help, and I taught her some things. So we shared. Anyway, so yeah, what I wanted to share was that some of you are familiar, have used the Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness curriculum when it was in print. And I just want to let you know it is now available actually on the public side of our website. As of like a couple of days ago, we're making it readily available to anyone who wants to use it. So let me back up and say, so Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness is a 6-lesson curriculum aimed at ages 8 to 15. We've actually just approved the virtual version for use in high school students as well, because it's better than anything else we have virtually. And we've heard people have actually even used it with adults successfully in general, the CHIF itself. So if you need a curriculum for, I guess, any age. So how it got converted, I'll try to be real brief, but some of you are familiar with our Choose Health Action Teens program, which is a partner program to CHIF, is what we call the curriculum, where teens are trained to teach CHIF to younger kids. So Jackie Davis Manigo, as many of you know her, she and I had a previously planned summer program in New York City. The third summer we've worked together to have trained teens there to teach CHIF to kids. And we were working with the Police Athletic League and their after school programs and having the actual teen counselors teach in their own program. So there were kids they were already working with, already familiar with, trying that new model. And we were super lucky that we had 8 college interns working with us, 4 from Cornell and 4 from the City University of New York School of Public Health. So we had a very intense summer, quickly converting the Choose Health curriculum to a virtual version, and then continued to work on fixing up the lessons and so on over the last for many months. So let's see, I'll show you just a little bit of the curriculum. It has built-in interactive activities. The challenge was, how do we keep it engaging like the print version is, which is very hands-on and interactive, and yet have it virtually. And that's where these interns were so creative and had the tech skills, or were willing to learn the tech skills to use animation and all kinds of stuff. There's fun active games, there's polls, there's moving images around. They made recipe videos. There's a recipe that comes with each lesson, and there's a 1 to 2 minute video now how to make that recipe, all part of the curriculum. We do recommend having a co-facilitator so that you can break into 2 small breakout rooms for the more interactive parts. And then there's reviews. So this is our team. I just want to, you see Jack in the middle, Dana in the middle right is our health coordinator, and then the 8 interns who were a couple of, some of them are still working. Great. So here's just one slide to show you that if you are in the normal view like this, it looks like there's just this one slide here. But if you go into screen sharing, you'll see that actually there's all these slides underneath that you can't see. So you need to, so I should say we have scripted facilitator notes in a separate Word document that tell you in detail what to do on each slide and and they're scripted, so what to say. This is just a quick example of how in person the kids have all these food model cards, the Dairy Council wants it. They have a pile of fruits and vegetables, and their job is to, as a team, is to put in the 2.5 cups of vegetables and 1.5 cups of fruit that's recommended each day. These are all half-cup equivalents, so they will have just been told all that. So now online, we say, okay, what do you guys want to have for breakfast? Okay, let's see, you want some strawberries for your breakfast, and we move them right on down, and maybe they want, they go through each meal, and they want peaches for lunch, and they're going to have some corn along with that, and for their snack, maybe some cauliflower and dip would be good, and at dinner, let's throw in these lentils. And so what do we have? We have only 3 vegetables so far, because beans also counts vegetable. We have 3 vegetables and 2 fruit. Okay, tell me, what else do you guys want? We need 2 more vegetables and 1 more fruit. What do you guys want to add? Call it out.
Watermelon.
To which meal?
Breakfast.
All right, we need 2 more vegetables.
Carrots for the snack.
Yeah, great idea. 1 more vegetable.
Broccoli for dinner.
Perfect. All right. And then we go on to say, so does this look colorful? Does it look like half your plate is vegetables and fruit? And so we have a discussion and so on. So I just wanted to just briefly show you a little bit of, how we've been able to keep them interactive. And then I want to talk about the training. So we've developed some resources for online training. We have a training webinar, which I've conducted live twice. And the first one for our FNEP staff, we edited that down from 1.5 hours to 1 hour. So we have this 1 hour training webinar where you can watch with actual teaching plus the how-to, see a little clip and then the how-to. And we also have training videos for each lesson that are about 20 minutes long that include short clips of each lesson, so you can really see how to teach it. We recommend watching a little of the training video and then practicing that part with your slides and the notes. And then lots of practice, because it takes some Zoom skills, which actually we have a detailed document that has screenshots and so on for all of the Zoom and PowerPoint techniques that are used as well. And then for reviewing the nutrition content, we have a fun Jeopardy game that it's all set up online. You click on which lesson and which dollar amount you want from 100 to 500, and a question pops up and you answer the question and go back and so on. So it's good, especially for group training. So the other thing I just wanted to do was just show you, I was forgetting there, I think it's portion of screen, our website. Oops, where's my green box? Can you guys see my, what do you see right now?
It's a lesson preparation and training resource.
Okay, good. It's just funny. I just do this portion of screen kind of training, and usually you can see a green box. That's what, oh, I see it now. You guys are seeing more than that. Now I see the green box. I just couldn't see it. There's a great setting called portion of screen that's on advanced sharing. And then you get this window that you can adjust yourself, and whatever's in that green box is what the viewers see. And you can switch to other documents, right? Without having to stop sharing and resharing. So it's really kind of cool. But anyway, this is our FNEC website where we've just put everything. If you go to the main CHIF website, you'll see there's a link right here to the newly created online CHIF lessons. And then here, as a lot of just sort of detail of what we've got. Here's the overview and tips document that is a place to start in terms of explaining what we have, and the appendices that are detailed Zoom and PowerPoint techniques with screenshots, and then the training resources, the training webinar, and then the 6 training videos. And then we recommend that you review the 1-page summary background for each lesson, as well as this Jeopardy game that you could do. And then all of the lessons are right here, the 6 lessons with the slides and lesson notes. And then we have a second set of subset of the slides that are just for the breakout rooms, so that if you have a co-facilitator, the slide sets are like 20 to 40 megabytes to download. So this is a much smaller thing that your co-facilitator could download. So, okay, I'll stop there and see what questions you have, if any. So I just wanted to let you guys know it's available if you want to use it. If you
Awesome. Thank you very much, Wendy. Are there any quick questions for Wendy? Wendy, what's your email? And I'll pop it in the chat in case somebody wants to email you.
WW16, it's really easy. At Cornell.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so feel free to follow up. And actually, I should put the website in the chat also.
All right.
And then I'm just going to stand a few minutes and then I've been meaning to, and I will follow up. I'm about to put an email out to national listservs and so on. And I will also post that to the state 4-H listserv. It's literally just got this all set up on to share publicly now.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, so that's our announcement for today, and I'm gonna go ahead. Alexa's gonna get us kind of started off to get us in the right mindset for, well, hopefully the right mindset for starting to talk about and share our ideas and what has worked and what maybe has not worked as far as public presentations in a virtual world. So I'll turn it over to Alexa.
Yeah, so we're just gonna play a quick little icebreaker game together. And what I'm gonna do is put everybody in a breakout group in groups of 2, so in pairs. And one person in the group is going to decide to be the artist. Not that you have to be Van Gogh or anything, keep all your ears. Just that you're gonna be drawing first. And then you are going to, so you draw your picture real quick, and then you're going to give the person that you're partnering with 5 directions on how to draw that picture. So don't draw starry night, stick to like octagons and smiley faces and stick figures and that kind of thing. But you have no more than 5 directions to communicate so that that person who's with you can draw your picture. And then you show each other your pictures at the end. Okay, so who has a question about how this is going to work? All right, so I am going to do oh, we got people leaving. Okay. Let's see. Breakout into breakout rooms here. And make sure we have a good sized group. All right. We ready? I'm going to send you away into cyberspace. Should see your invitations. Hey, Anna.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, let's have an art show. What kind of pictures do we have here?
Well, isn't that part of public presentations? You create something and you share.
How was it? So I heard we needed one more direction. You needed to be able to give 6 directions. Yeah.
I think we could have just used another minute.
Yeah, more time would definitely be helpful. I agree.
Also, if you have your background set like I do, you can't show a picture. So that's kind of something you might want to know.
Oh, that's a good.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So when I go to show it, it just blocks me out and you don't see anything. So
Oh.
Hey, that's a good way to play peekaboo, though. Look, I'm really invisible.
All right. So it looks like everybody is back, and hopefully we all enjoyed our moment of artistry or trying to follow directions. I discovered that I have to think really, really hard when someone tells me vertical versus horizontal because my brain doesn't think like that. So that was a little challenging, kind of like I don't know my left from my right.
The-
So let's go ahead and I know, right? So which one's left?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
So I think if we're continuing to move forward, we're going to do a little bit of sharing as we are talking about and moving into public presentation season. So I'm going to actually turn the floor over to Renee and Rachel to kind of share what the Finger Lakes have done in the past and what has worked or maybe not worked.
So I don't think Renee was able to be on yet. I'm just taking a peek. Doesn't look like it. So there are a couple people that are on this call that might be able to speak to this as much or better than myself too. So Jess, if there's anything that you feel like I'm missing, or Sarah or Charles is on, he actually was involved in this as well, that would be awesome. So back in the very end of March last year, we actually had started our registrations for our district presentations when everything happened. So Renee actually came to a few of us and said, hey, what about this as an idea to do something virtual? So we quickly, in like a week's time, I think about maybe a week and a half, quickly planned something that we put on the middle of April. And so I'll try to give you as many details as I can, and then we can talk about things that worked and didn't work. First of all, if I show you, we have a lot of things which I can definitely share. Maybe it's easier to share in a different format, all the documents that were created. But I can definitely share some if anybody wants to here today. I have some of them pulled up. One of the big things is this was back when we really didn't have as much experience. So with that considered, I think it actually came out really well. What ended up happening was we thought about limiting our invitations for our district presenters, though some counties did invite all of those who had qualified. We were not at that moment in time going to be doing interviews. So we hadn't quite figured out how to manage that at that point in time, but it did happen later. We ended up taking registrations for those who we invited, and we do have a letter actually that discusses the process that I can share. And we also invited evaluators to participate in the process, still looking at having 2 evaluators per room. And we have a registration for that and a letter that goes along with that, which certainly can be shared. We ended up, I will jump to the fact that we ended up, I think we ended up with 27, about 27 presenters. I might have that a little bit off. With that, we ended up with 8 rooms. So we did separate rooms. We had educators who took on the role of room hosts. Those room hosts actually arranged the Zoom meeting links for each of their rooms, invited their evaluators, which we had a spreadsheet which organized that out, and invited their presenters, who then were encouraged to invite their audience members. So those links were shared for that purpose. We did have the presentations over a course of 2 days, and we had 4 time slots, I think, on those days. So we had multiple presentations going on at the same time with different room hosts who were responsible for those duties. The room hosts also were responsible for an introduction, which I can show you the PowerPoint really quickly. It's really nice, nicely done. Renee put it together and just a few of us reviewed it, where it kind of gave the standard of what was to be expected. The room hosts introduced themselves, the evaluators introduced themselves, just like we would typically in a room. Things we did not do is we did not really do scores in this case. This was more about the experience of doing this in this virtual world. So we made it be more about the new experience, but we did give comments, and the chat was collected and shared also with the presenters, so they had that as well. So everything other than scores really are what happened. At the end of it all, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, we did actually send out certificates as well. Just took care of that for us. So that part was there. So the one thing that was a little different is the no scores piece, if that helps a little bit. Things that we did other than what I shared, there's so many details. It was a lot of little moving parts, I think you can probably all imagine, is we actually didn't do an in-person or a live virtual meeting or training for the evaluators, but we did create, I think it was about 12 minutes long. Jess and I created a little tutorial, not necessarily training, but a little bit about how to use Zoom and how we would be doing this in this format for our evaluators, and they all watched that. For the room hosts, we actually had a Zoom meeting and recorded for those who couldn't attend. That was a tutorial in there as far as what every room host was expected to do and the steps, answer questions, etc. Trying to think some of the other pre-moving parts. I'm sure I'll think of them afterwards. I have a lot of notes here, but there's only so much time to share with you all. I don't know. We do have the videos actually stored. I think most of you know about the Finger Lakes 4-H Launchpad. We know it's a Facebook page, but we also have those websites, which are cloned on our own CCE pages. And we do have the videos actually all stored. So if anybody's ever interested in seeing how it all went, how some of them came out, and how they faced any challenges, that might be maybe a best way to handle that. I can make sure to put I have it from our own page, but I can put the link in the chat for you to check out. I do have it pulled up if we want. A couple challenges. We're probably just, and not really so much of a challenge, perhaps. Sometimes we had to encourage the kids, support the kids a little bit outside of this and or their families. So many educators had separate meetings and practice runs with their presenters. Yep, I was gonna do that, Charles. Thank you. If you want to put it in, go right ahead. If one of you guys wants to put it in the chat, that'd be awesome. Fabulous. And so I think some of the things were like, if something was a demonstration, really trying to determine what was the best way to present that. So we had, I saw some people who set it up so they actually had 2 setups, right? So they had a camera, which I think some of you may have done that in some of your workshops where you're doing a hands-on activity and you can see it. And then another one where you talk into. Others just really did a lot of great work practicing to set up their space so that you could see their table and their poster and all of those things. Probably illustrated talks were a little bit easier, and some of the other sorts of presentations were probably a little bit easier and lent themselves more to that. Definitely the PowerPoints, the youth were quite good at all ages at really managing, being the co-host, managing their slides, all of that. I think one thing that, at least in the rooms that I was in, that I really noticed that was great about this, is going to a positive, is the question part. It didn't feel forced, not that it always does in the room, but sometimes it does a little bit, right? And it just felt like sometimes the questions could have gone on forever. We had to manage that. As a room host, you had to manage that, but they were really meaningful. So the audience, the attendees, everybody in there was really handling that really well. Let me see if I can share something for you really quickly here. Do I have sharing capabilities, Autumn?
I think you do, Rachel, but if
Okay.
not, let me know.
Okay, can you all see this page? Okay, so this is what a cloned website page looks like of the Launchpad. So this is on the Seneca page, but if you scroll down, you'll see here over to the left, Virtual 4-H District Public Presentations, a little bit about what we did, and Jess did a really great job of creating this for us so that we could have this all set up. But we did, so you can see on the left, these highlighted names. Can you see, I don't know if I can, so you'll see Lily, Isaac, Mina, Aiden, etc. Those are rooms. Those are public presentation rooms where there were recordings that worked out. We had a couple where it didn't work out, which is okay. So we have those there. We thought that would be nice because it would be a great place to house them and people could come back and watch them, but also we could use as a training tool in the future, etc. Just wanted to show you that. Let me see, I can show you a couple other things real quick. How's my time looking? Am I doing okay? I want to make sure I don't take up everybody else's time.
A couple more minutes if you don't mind. Rachel.
Awesome, no problem. I am going to, let me see if I can pull up the one thing I really love, and I've reused this a couple times. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to pull up. Give me just a second, might not work. Is the PowerPoint we used for the introductions. I think it was so well done. And we've redone this sort of format for other events in our county, and we've used something similar. Just try to see if I can get it. It doesn't seem to, I'm having a hard time with the PowerPoint. I will make sure to send that along. Let me try something else. I can show you a couple of tools maybe here, if I can get them to come up. Well, this is not what I wanted to show you, but I'll show you this real quick. So obviously we shared a lot of tools. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the best practices. We shared that for our room hosts, and we shared it, I believe, for our evaluators, or made it available to them as well. Let me see, I don't know if I can switch out. Are you seeing evaluators? Awesome, fabulous, good. So these are some of the tools that we created. So here's the letter that was sent to the evaluators, and I'm scrolling kind of fast, and I will share these documents if you'd like. Talks a little bit about how this was arranged, set up, etc. This is before they actually registered and said, yes, I'll do it. So we took a registration for this. So this explained this to them a little bit. Talks about how we'll organize the rooms, the times, all of that business. It was amazing how we got takers on evaluators, I thought. Really impressive. I think we actually had more than what we needed. I might be wrong. Somebody else can speak up about that. There was this letter to counties, which we created. So this was for the different counties to explain similar, but maybe a little bit more detailed. The reason why we're doing this, how we're organizing it, how many we could have, etc. Okay, registration, etc. I know I'm going kind of quick. This is the letter to the participants, which obviously counties could edit in whatever way they needed, but this was just letting them know that they've been selected. This is how we're going to do this. A little bit more, again, repeat of how the format will be, asking them to register, the deadline to register, contact their educator for questions, a whole bunch of information, steps, muting and unmuting, turning your video on and off, sharing your screen, accessing the chat, angling your computer screen for camera better results, things we've really gotten better about and we know more about, but that we were still working on. So there's a lot with that. And I think that's all in there. I know that went really quick, but just to show you a number of documents, I really wanted to show you the PowerPoint, but I'm not sure why I'm having a little bit of a struggle with that. But I think
sorry, a quick question. Okay. So did your evaluators, like how long did you allocate per participant? And then did you have the evaluators, work on the comment sheet, then come back together?
Yeah, good question. Gosh, Jess, can you remember, was it, I think we still kept our time to our usual time. I can't remember if it was shorter than 15. Go ahead.
No, we gave them 15 minutes. And we made it clear
15.
in the letter that they would have 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's for the presentation, but what about the discussion and the questions?
Yep. So what we did was we had the presentation just like we normally would. And we did have to do some time watching, exactly what Jess is saying. There was a bit of that in some situations, and that was the room host's responsibility, as it usually would be. And then we did the regular part of questions that the audience would ask. And really, I don't know, in the rooms I was in, I found that gave the evaluators enough time because they were working on, they used our typical evaluation forms for them to think about the kind of things they would be looking for. So even though we didn't use scores, we still thought about the same criteria. So as they listened to the presentation, I believe most of them probably made those comments and thoughts for themselves prepared to discuss. So after the question period took place, then the evaluators both spoke, and they did speak. So normally we would be outside just one-on-one with the presenter. They did speak, and they knew this was going to happen. They were going to speak in front of the entire audience. So it really was I guess a great learning tool for all the other attendees as well, because they heard the feedback as well. Did that answer your question, Kristen?
A little. So in our district, we had the half hour per youth. So I wasn't sure, did you schedule a certain number for the hour-and-a-half session? So they were all watching each other's presentations, or?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know that there were any more than, there might have been, some rooms might have had 8 presenters in them, but some had just 6. They were very small, so we did have enough time. Some were done rather rapidly, depend on probably developmentally where the kids were at. I was in a room that lasted, I think, an hour and a half, perhaps. So it was one of the longer ones. We had 2 team presentations in that room as well. So, so maybe a little less time, Kristen, if that helps you a little bit than what you've experienced in the past, though you could probably format it that way as well. We had discussed previously about doing breakout rooms and a whole bunch of things, but we just felt in the format and the time we had that setting it up in this way, it would work a little easier.
All right, and so sorry, so the evaluators didn't take time away. Did they complete the comments while the presentation was happening, or how did they? Because normally the presenters would talk. Okay.
They did, and then they also had time while the audience and participants, because there were family members that attended, people from people's offices that attended, other educators who attended. So like I said, that question period took place. So they also had that time period to solidify what they were going to say, if that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen, they didn't actually do a formal evaluation. They didn't do a written one, if maybe that's what you're asking. They
Just the
just
verbal.
provided oral feedback.
Okay.
How did that go? Hi, everybody. How did that go in terms of like other youth being around? And I asked that really openly because we're usually really strict in like an in-person environment where we don't even like parents coming in for feedback with kids because we find the kids tend to be much more receptive and less defensive when it's just there with the evaluator on their own. So wondering how your experience was with
Yeah.
sharing with other kids.
I can definitely speak for the 3 rooms that I was in, but I maybe, you know, the others can speak to their experience. It didn't seem negative.
Okay, I'll hold on, or I'll be here if you.
They were prepared in advance that this was how it was going to be, Melanie, so that might have helped a bit. But I did have one notice, and it was a youth that was from my county who I noticed was given some constructive feedback. I could see a little in her face perhaps, but it wasn't, I mean, it was handled very well. I just feel like the evaluators that I observed at least were so excellent that they just really took that into consideration. Not that they didn't give important feedback that was necessary, that was constructive and not just all positives. But I think the environment overall, my experience again, in just the 3 rooms I was in, was quite positive and was well received. I'm not sure if anybody else who's here might have had a different experience.
I had a question, Rachel. I was fortunate enough to be a room host. I thought it was amazing, but I'm wondering if you got any informal, anecdotal, formal feedback from the participants themselves, from the kids who participated. How did they react to it? You know, when it was all said and done.
Jess, do you remember? That's one thing I didn't pull up, and I'm sorry about that.
We did do an evaluation, but I don't remember that we've ever actually looked at it. I think Renee has access to it. We actually sent an evaluation with their certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can say anecdotally, you know, feedback that I heard at least from, I should say, the room hosts, once they completed the process and their video was downloaded, they were directed to share back to their presenters in their room and also share their chat. So I did get a little feedback from some of the youth or families, parents, from those that were in the one room that iRoom hosted. And it was overall positive and just grateful that we did it, that we tried it. Definitely there were some growing pains for some, especially when it came to the visibility of things and maybe some of those technology challenges. I don't know so much if we had so many challenges too. One of the things obviously we were concerned about at the time, because in this point we only did the lives, was obviously people's accessibility. So
Are you going to do it again?
I can't recall, Charles or Jess, if you had any issues with that in your spaces or heard anything of that.
No. My question was, are you going to do it again, though, based on whatever evaluation you have?
If we're going to do virtual district presentations, we're actually going to do ours in person outside at Bristol Hills 4-H camp in like June, right?
All right.
That's what we're doing. So, but I can say, I can speak for myself, and I know some others do, that I've used this format I used it for FAIR evaluation. And I offered it for Produced in New York evaluation, but they took me up on one-on-one in person and or submitting a video. I think that Leland's going to talk about those different offerings. Bring all of our things right now is those 3 options. But the Zoom evaluations for FAIR evaluation went really great too. We were outside, kids were showing animals. It was really interesting. So,
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Thank you, Rachel. I'm sorry, but we just do have others folks that we want to jump through. But I encourage folks to use the chat to ask additional questions, and we will try to capture those at the end as well, to send out something after, as follow-up, so that we hopefully catch everybody, and we make sure that we also provide any resources that are shared within the Together Wherever space. So Leland, we're gonna see what you have to share from Saratoga.
Well, I'm not gonna, I was initially planning on talking about our plans for Zoom, but I think Rachel did a much better job at that than I would have. They have obviously been through the process and we have not yet. That's something we've been planning for, and they're very good ideas there that I'm gonna rob and try to incorporate into our program. I don't have a lot to offer from experiential, because last year we were fortunate enough that our public presentations were early in March, and we were able to get in under the wire before the COVID shutdown happened. So we were actually able to have our in-person. There were a few makeup presentations that we had to do afterwards virtually. But with that being said, for 2021, we're talking about like a three-prong approach to how we're going to offer public presentations to kids and families. So the first option is going to be in person, which is, I know a lot of counties don't have the luxury of having in-person stuff right now. So we have been actually able to have, according to our county association, in-person meetings and gatherings since early last fall, I guess I would say, and have continued kind of along that same grain. Right now, we just have to plan for that. Things may change between now and then, but we just plan for what we currently have. So what we're looking at with in-person presentations right now is a difference for us and not a lot of difference for other counties, where normally it's a first come, first served basis for kids that show up. They do get an hour time slot whenever they show up, so when they sign up for public presentations, your presentation is going to be between 9 and 10. And so they show up at 9 and 10. So it's like a wave of kids. For us this year, they're going to register for 20-minute time slots. And we are going to have 4 rooms in our office. We're fortunate enough to have the space. And so we're gonna have 4 rooms, 20-minute time slots, and that's going to hopefully allow for cleaning between presenters. There will be limited audience available in person, so just immediate family allowed in the room with the kids, and 1 evaluator. We're not doing 2 evaluators this year. And that's going to hopefully keep down on the number of people in the room, obviously wearing masks, except for the presenter, who in each room is able to maintain 6 feet of distance between themselves and the evaluators. So essentially that's what we're going to do. And we're doing that over the course of a Saturday. So it's going to be a 4-hour event on April 10th. Now, we have already talked about at our district level what we're going to do. We actually had a meeting last week, and one of the things that came up is that we might do video presentations for the district level. So we're actually going to have 1 room. So when kids register, similar to how they would do horse presentations, they are going to indicate whether or not they have a desire to advance on to districts. Because we definitely have certain kids that just have no interest in advancing on. They're just doing it for the heck of it, or doing it because their parents are making them or their club leaders are making them. But we definitely have kids who that's their goal, is to advance on. So that room is going to be set up with a video camera, a backdrop, lighting, and all that stuff that will hopefully go to make for a better video presentation. And granted, they don't need to make any, if they do get chosen for districts and they don't need to make any major changes, we will be able to already have that video file for them to use. So that's the one side of things for in-person. The other side that we're doing the Zoom presentations, obviously, as we said, and we're actually doing those. Myself and Greg are going to each host a room. Those kids, when they're going to sign up for Zoom presentations a week beforehand, we're going to split them into rooms, and they're going to get a link for the Zoom room that they are in. We're doing it over the course of 3 days in the afternoons from 4 to 7. And we're going to allow in family and any audience that they want. And then obviously when that presentation is done, we're going to move on. And then the other thing is still going to be allowed for uploads of presentations to Cornell Box, which is something that we did for our makeup presentations last year, and it worked out pretty well. We only had a couple of people that had issues uploading their videos to the box, and we were able to work around as well with some clever video editing. But for the most part, that worked pretty well. So if kids aren't able to do the in-person, or don't want to do the in-person, or not able to do Zoom, they still will have that option to record their presentations from home and upload those to Cornell Box. And if anybody doesn't know how to collect information from Box, just let me know and I can definitely talk to you about how to do that. It's really, really simple. So yeah, that's it. And I see Megan asked, how many presentations will we be doing? We don't know. We really have no idea. And that's one thing we are happy about, is that the way that we're doing registrations this year, we're offering 3 nights of Zoom presentations. If we get to a point where we know we have more kids than we have time, we can open up another night. And similarly, if we have kids that want to do in person, we can open up another Saturday. So we're kind of just going to see if we can fill the slots we have. And if we need to open up more slots, we can do that.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Leland.
Yep.
So the other person, there's a couple more folks that we were going to have do some sharing. And Jess Tyson, can you share about State Horse Communications?
Yes, and Sarah, who is our state communications chair, is also on because she really ran the event and had these ideas, but she doesn't have great internet. So I'm going to lead and she's happy to help answer questions. So we obviously couldn't do anything at Cornell for State Horse Communications. So Sarah had come up with the idea of doing it virtually on YouTube, so kids were still able to have the opportunity. And she actually created a video, if I remember right, or a document, I think it was a document on how to do it, because some kids weren't sure how to upload their videos. So they were-
Yes, it was a YouTube video.
See, I thought so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I still have it if anybody wants it to benchmark off of.
And that was very helpful. So kids were able to have someone record them doing their communications speech or public speaking or team presentation. And from there, they uploaded that onto YouTube and it was set as private. So unless you had that link, it wasn't able to be viewed. Just to be safe, only the presenters, myself, Sarah, and anyone at the state horse office the group was able to view it. So then Sarah had her evaluator set up and she was able to send it to the evaluators, and there was 2 or 3, and correct me there, Sarah, per junior and seniors. And they were still scored like a normal year. They were still sent their ribbons at the end. And once they were all scored and they had their comments, those sheets were shared with those youth. And Sarah then connected with each of them to see if they wanted to set up like a one-on-one with their judge, and so the youth could hear what they had to say and get that feedback face-to-face via Zoom. We did have less youth participate this year, but we had this talk earlier this month. I think a lot of that was, there was a lot going on and it was later in the year. And I think some youth, because some counties were able and districts were able to have our events in February or March or whatever, by the time we held communications, it was late summer. So I think some youth kind of forgot about, or just weren't sure what was going to be happening. Does anyone, that was the general gist. Sarah, do you have anything to add before you have to hop off?
No, basically, I think, Jess, you did a great job summarizing it. And I think the reasoning for not doing it live over Zoom, but rather doing video uploads, was there was a lot of concern from the regions and from the counties of, youth that didn't have, good internet connections and would be prevented from participating because of that. But we figured they could always, record their video and then go somewhere, to the library, sit outside in the parking lot and upload it. But then we also gave that option for them to conference one-on-one with their judge, which I thought was a cool opportunity, because then that gave them the chance to really dive in with that judge and either, call over the phone or over Zoom, whatever worked best for them. So yeah, if there's any questions, I'm happy to help out in any way. But I know most people are trying to do live stuff. We just did a little different way for this.
Okay. So
I have a kind of a question. I guess we're considering doing the video program, but we're also considering having like potentially doing a showcase where, we have the pre-recorded videos, the evaluators can meet with them at a separate scheduled time. Then we have a showcase event where we watch the presentations and then youth can answer questions from the audience. I don't know if everyone's tried that, or if that, I don't know what thoughts are regarding that kind of event.
Kristen, we did a showcase after we did, my dog was barking really loud in the background, sorry. We did a showcase after we did our presentations events, and we sort of picked out a nice variety. We were really trying to get out the word in our community about more about the value of our program and what we're doing. So we picked everything from like a Clover Bud to probably our most skilled presenter. And that was really great because we invited, we had our state senator Metzger come, who was head of the ag committee of the state Senate, and we had a couple other people kind of attend that. So Chris very ably led that. So I really like the idea of the showcase after the fact, or after the evaluation, I'm sorry, and feedback was given. And so, yeah, I think showcase is a great option. At our county level, we don't give ribbons anyway. We really keep the focus on the feedback.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Sarah. Melissa, we also had tapped into you to share what you had done in your county.
Okay, so like Leland, last year, Tioga was fortunate enough to get their county presentations taken care of in February, which was a great opportunity. So we are learning as we go. We're taking leads from the South Central District and how horse presentations were done there, as well as state horse presentations, with having a private YouTube channel. That is the primary way in which we are asking youth to submit their videos. We do, however, know that with limits in transportation and in internet access in the county, that these are real barriers. So we also have a certain abundance of SD cards and even camera kits that we're going to make available for loan as well, with the idea that we coordinate with individual families and how we'll get those things back. The nice thing with SD cards is that they're easy to mail. That was one of the things that was kind of appealing there. And we also were banking on the success. We had a youth that was very successful with a horse presentation last year, so we're kind of able to utilize some of that credibility. We have monthly meetings right now with our leaders and our key volunteers. And this month's topic is going to be public presentations, and we're going to be walking them through it, helping to disperse resources, answering questions, and working people through some of the different things that they have. And our other thought was in terms of accessibility for the kids and the families, in terms of submissions. So, you know, having those key factors in place there. We're also looking on the other side to judges. A lot of our judges are, you know, dealing with some of the same questions. Accessibility, how am I going to, and also same safety factors. So working with the forms that we've been using, so they're familiar with the forms, but also working with them to put them into a format that works best for them. Some of our folks may need either a delivery of forms or just an email of a digital form. It varies by different levels of accessibility. And where they're located, where their comfort is. That's the other thing too, is helping them be as comfortable with this as possible. And also allowing for some of the creativity that can happen in a less limiting space than a 4-walled room. So, you know, I think there's pluses and minuses, but helping, April and I in looking through everything that we had in terms of strengths and possibilities, we felt that this was the best way to provide for accessibility at this time. Not saying that folks can't try to work with us as we get more into fair season to do something in person. But most of our kids want to get their presentations taken care of this time of the year. And it's actually something that we're hoping that can be, have that right balance of privacy, but also have the ability to still be able to share it. They can still share their files as appropriately. So, kind of that whole mixture of remote and sharing too. So, just helping clubs through some of those things too. So, we're finding that it's a mixed bag, not just with the youth, but also with our judges. So we're learning with them and growing with them in the process. And I'm getting a smile from Autumn because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. But they're growing through the process too with us. So yeah, we're moving forward, can do attitude, and looking forward to where that'll take us.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So those are just some of the things that we know have happened in the past, or some of the plans that we know are going to be going forward. Alexa, what's our next step here? I may have lost my place.
Okay, so what we're gonna do next is switch gears a little bit and take some time to think about what you've already planned in your local programs, or what might have been sparked from this conversation, and how you might want to think about your plan for this year moving forward. So we're going to start with a little grounding question, and I'm curious, what's the main purpose of a virtual public presentations event? What are we hoping that youth will get from this? Now, don't answer yet. Pause, think about this. Write your answer in the chat, but don't send yet. I'm gonna give you a minute to think, and then I'll say go, and then we'll see everybody's answers at the same time. Okay? So we're just gonna step back and say, what's the purpose of this thing that we're creating together?
And we promise we'll save the chat and share it when we're done.
Okay, ready? Ready, set, go. I say it that way because my son's right here and he likes to say go at the end.
It's always nice when we have our mini helpers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, awesome. So I'm seeing safe space, communication skills, Zoom. Yeah, creating the conversation and being part of, leading instead of just listening. That's awesome.
I like the confidence building and allowing opportunities to learn new skills.
All right, so what we're gonna do next is spend about 10 minutes or so in breakout rooms. Oh, thank you. Yeah, keep putting those in the chat. We're gonna spend about 10 minutes in a breakout room. We've created a separate Google Doc with just some guiding questions that maybe you're already thinking about for your program, or it could help you think about your program in a new way. There's a ton of questions, mostly because I love questions. Please don't feel like you have to answer all of them, but just look at which ones might speak to you. And in your group, yes, speak to you, exactly. In your group, pick some of them to respond to together. Okay, so I'm gonna create these breakout rooms now.
Got most everybody back. At least I think it's most everybody.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. We have about 15 minutes left, Alexa, and we're learning and growing as we do this too, because our agenda actually had more things on it, but we were really wanted to make sure that everybody was able to have some valuable conversation and ask their questions. So Alexa, where would we like to go from here?
Wow, lots of directions. I have two main things though, because we are, not going to be here all afternoon. One is, what does anybody have anything they wanted to share from your conversations in your small groups? Like, how did that go?
I do have one thing to share. I just, I'm new, sort of. I started in March of last year. So sometimes like, I don't even really know a lot about public presentations in general. So if you could sometimes give a little bit of a summary or I don't know, I just feel like sometimes I get in these sessions and people talk and I don't even know some of this stuff how to contribute because I don't know the starting points. So just something for a heads up for us new people who are still learning a lot of it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point. We should have started with this is what public presentations is, sort of beastie. Yeah. And don't we talk about that in public presentations? Yes, you agree. Thank you.
Tamara, do you see us all nodding our heads like remembering? Oh yes, not too long ago I was doing the same thing. So we got you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, and hopefully this is one place where you might meet some people who can help answer some of those questions. And I do see in the chat, Tammy suggested a mentor, so we can work on something more formally for you with the Educators Association if that's something you're interested in. And I know it's something that emerges over time as you get to know the network too. So definitely. Yeah, the state website for public presentations, we can do that. And it also leads me to the next thing I want to mention, which is this is only our first Spark Space. We are going to have 2 of these a month, for the rest of the year. The next one on February 17th is around creating welcoming programs for youth with different gender identities. So I hope you'll join us for that one. But there is one in April that's specifically for new staff. And we'll have more information around that to share as well. But that will be done in partnership with the Educators Association. So we'll have some more resources specifically for people who are just coming into the community, self-selected how you decide if you're new or not. I know I feel new some moments still too. So we will have that going forward. And I do hope that you will help shape what the next and future offerings of this look like. So there is a little survey I'm going to put in the chat for you all if you have a minute. It's short, I swear. I know we love surveys. Just 2 questions. If you have a minute to think about it, we will use the results to help think about next time. And
Alexa, could I share some resources just for like a minute, if you would, just knowing there's a lot of new folks on here and knowing Southeast has done a really deep dive on a lot of this stuff and wanting to make sure that people are aware of them.
Yes, and I will say we have a spot on the professional development website. I put the link in the chat, and we'll send a follow-up email to have our SparkSpace information. So any of these links that we shared from any of our presenters or anyone else, if you have public presentation things that you want to add to that website for people to go to, we can do that. So if there's anything from what you're going to share, Melanie, that you want to add to that, just send it my way. Okay, now go ahead.
So I'm going to just really quickly bring up an evaluation form that the whole Southeast district, so we like hammered it out together, and I really think it's a good one. It's really held up to the test of time. We've really changed it to use less evaluative language and more growth mindset oriented language, especially in the formerly known as needs improvement column, now known as room for growth column. So I just want to bring that up really quick so you know what that looks like. This one says virtual. But I really like this one, and I think our colleagues did a really great job in putting it together. So it's pared down to only 12 evaluative factors. Most of us use one with 17 evaluative factors for either a demonstration or an illustrated talk category. So I know you're not going to be able to read this many words on the screen. I'm throwing up way too much at you, but just so you know what it looks like, this says virtual, but honestly, it can be used for virtual or in person. But again, instead of saying, you know, bad eye contact, it's practice making more eye contact. You use more like verb language, like this is what you can do to keep improving your skills. And it's a lot simpler. So all of these things are available in this folder, which I'll put the link into. The other big thing that I think we did that has been working is more training materials. So we did some mini workshops that really break down the skills that you need to do a public presentation, and have a workshop that's associated with putting together your presentation. So the workshop goes nicely along with the evaluation form or with the feedback form. So I have, let me just bring it up real quick for y'all. So let's see, so this is all under presentation resources. So the little mini workshops, there were 3. One was on topic and main ideas, one was on visuals and body language, and the third was on intro, transitions, and conclusions. So they're each, I don't think any of them is more than 30 minutes or so. It was basically the content that we taught, and then we put the kids into breakout rooms to apply the content we taught to their presentation. So they were supposed to have come having already, you know, done a little bit of work on that. I also have this designed to be for beginners and younger 4-Hers. This is what this folder is about. For advanced presenters, this is what this folder is about. And then there's the actual feedback forms, as well as just some presentation updates and reminders. We also create free 4-H enrollment for anyone for any Ulster County resident in our case. So this is their enrollment form that they can use to get signed up. So, and just really briefly to look at the worksheet so you know what you're looking for. So again, I aligned a lot of this around like TED Talk stuff. This is the pared down one. So as they're trying to put together their presentations, it's the why, choosing your topic, what are you doing in your intro, what are your main ideas, conclusion, length, and sources. I will say one big anomaly for us, as I've been talking to colleagues in the Northeast, we're the only state that allows for like 15-minute presentations. Most states are only 10 minutes. So I think for demonstrations that could be challenging in some cases, but we are sort of an outlier in terms of allowing for 15-minute presentations. And at least in my experience, that's often the kids who do the least work are the ones who are giving 15-minute presentations because they haven't consolidated their information at all. So this link is available to the general public. It's what we offer to all of our people. One other thing I just want to put a little plug in for, Alexa, I'm not even sure if you know about this. I talked to Andy and Jamila, I let them know about it, and a couple of folks from district. A lot of folks from Northeast states have been talking about putting together a regional show, event that's going to have both a showcase element for those kids who don't like competition, and for those kids who are competitively ready and that motivates them, it will have some categories that are ranked, like top 3. So I'm to work with all my district peers to figure out how we're going to select those kids, but there's a lot of energy around it. We have at least 8 or 9 different states signed up, and that's now slated for September 18th, 2021. So I think that could be really exciting. There used to be national level competitions for public presentations. So ever since I've learned that, I know I've certainly been wanting to get back to that point and figured we could start piloting at a smaller regional level. And I've already learned a lot from our colleagues in the Northeast about what they're doing and what we could share. So I think we can do a lot more sharing around this, and I'm gonna just type in everything. Let's see, I'll type in this link so everyone has it, and please do let me know what you find. You know, nothing's edited. So, you know, like I said, it's just my goofy self, but along with my kids, and I had some alumni who were helping me also for some recent alumni who were helping me for the workshops, which was really great. And they basically ran the breakout rooms, which was awesome.
Thanks, Mel.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We have some really awesome people in the Southeast District, and I like sharing our work and being smart about it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
And that kind of goes like, thank you so much, Melanie. Because that kind of goes to a point too. It's like, I feel like people have so many resources in their counties, and like leader trainings, would be nice. I'm starting to collaborate with the Southeast District region, but like, access to like PowerPoints that people use and how they set up their leader trainings. That's something that we don't have a very strong club program, so we don't have as many resources. So I just would like to know if we can maybe have some more of a collaborative place, to really encourage, a state kind of consistency.
Okay. Alexa, do you have anything else?
I have a walking away activity. I just want to say, Kristen, that's a great question that I don't have a 2-minute answer for. So let's keep asking it and figure out a good answer for. Okay. So my last is just a little reflection so we can get back to our heart and hands. And you can do this in the chat if you want, or you can unmute yourself and talk. So your heart, what's something that you feel grateful for at this moment? And hands, what's something you're walking away from this conversation with? So either or. And then a huge thank you all for being here. I learned a lot from you, and I really appreciate you being here to share with each other and so we can learn from each other. Love in the chat. Thank you guys. And we will keep this chat too. So we'll make the resources from this, the recording will all be posted on the website, the professional development website. All right, Autumn, it's back to you.
I think we are all set for today. Thanks for flying along with us as we figure out how to work in this space and make it beneficial for all. Alexa and I are learning right alongside all of you. So thank you for your patience and for working with us. And we are ever grateful to have a network of professionals that we can bounce ideas off of and we can be comfortable with and learn to be who we are. So thank you all so much for that. And we'll see you all in the next Spark Space. So everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.